from Los Angeles. Welcome to Good Morning LaLa. I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Rob Max.
And I'm Jess Moyer. This is Good Morning LaLaLand, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Also available on Apple TV, Roku, and Twitch.
And it's hashtag Thought Thursday. We're going to talk about the full moon, the spring equinox, and lots of celebrations of New Year.
Persian New Year.
Yeah, that's right. All kinds of great new celebrations because it's a new day, because we come together each day to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, and start new. Every day is the ability to start new.
That's right. Every moment, a new golden opportunity.
I'm glad I get to start fresh today, especially when we get to celebrate this new year with our very special guest this morning. Hello, everyone, back in the studio. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, look at that gorgeous cake. You know those flowers are edible?
What?
What a way to start the day. We love cake. Katie Morton is in the house. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, we're so excited to have you here. She's a mental health expert, an author. She's really going to break down mental health in social media this morning.
Love that.
We got to refresh on the new year, right?
Of course, always.
So how do you start your day, Katie? We'd like to know what your morning routine is here on Good Morning LaLaLand.
If I'm honest, I scratch my husband's back because he usually asks me to. And then I've been trying to meditate for like 5 minutes, and then I check Instagram.
So what would it be if you were lying, if you weren't being authentic? What would you tell us in your morning routine?
I think I would say that, like, I take some time, I breathe, I consider my to-do list.
All right.
You know, say something I'm grateful for.
Let's get the script down.
Yes.
Exactly.
Sounds like it. Rena Patel is in the house. She's a parenting expert. Good morning, Rena.
Morning.
Thank you so much for being with us today. So how do you start your day? What's your morning routine?
Well, I'm a family of 5. I've got 3 kids, and so before the kind of controlled chaos starts to happen, my circus, I actually wake up and go into my kids' room and watch them sleep just for a few seconds. And then the rat race begins.
Catch them at their most peaceful moment.
Right.
They're so pretty when they sleep.
Right? It's incredible.
That's the best time to love and appreciate that. I can only imagine. Well, Sahar Maserati is in the house. She is the sugar alchemist. Good morning, Sahar.
Good morning.
And Happy New Year to you. We're so honored to celebrate with you today, and thank you for bringing us that gorgeous cake.
Absolutely, it was my honor and pleasure to spend the first day with you guys.
So what does it mean, sugar alchemy?
Sugar alchemy, so basically the story is I studied medicine and chemistry, so when I decided to venture into the cake artistry, I thought the use of the chemistry and alchemy and incorporate that into my art makes only sense. So, and because I play with the ingredients, so it only made sense to make it as sugar alchemy. But there's a twist. I pronounce and spell it in Danish because like I grew up in Denmark. So.
Wow, that is so cool. So being that it is the Persian New Year, what's your favorite way to celebrate?
To be honest with you, with my loved one, which is my man, and with my fairy son, Persian cat, Jagger.
Well, thank you so much for being with us, ladies. We're excited to talk to you more later in the show. Did you know that in Los Angeles, we actually have the largest Persian population outside of Iran?
Oh,
I did not know that. That's incredible.
Absolutely. So the city is celebrating today along with over 300 million people worldwide. It's like Christmas, 4th of July, New Year, all combined into one, but it's not even a religious holiday.
That's right. It's incredible, huh?
It's new. It's International Nowruz. I guess that's how you pronounce it, but it was declared in 2010. I didn't even know about this, but 300 million people celebrate this.
It's incredible. I love it. It's a celebration of peace and solidarity and neighborliness.
So now you have 300 million and 3.
That's right, exactly.
Absolutely.
That's right, you're growing.
Traditionally, one of the ways in which they celebrate is they jump over fire, right? So this didn't start with Tony Robbins. People are walking on fire and doing those rocks. Actually, the Persians have been doing it for hundreds of thousands of years. It's a way of like signaling the hurdles that they're jumping over to really start new and start fresh.
It felt like that with the full moon. Did you feel like that? It felt like everything that was like needed to get cleansed out was like everything was like pulling up all the stuff, whatever clutter you had in your life, and it's like, okay, deal with this, right?
Man, love that. So I guess I can skip cleaning my car in my apartment this weekend.
It's too
like I
late.
usually do.
If you did it before yesterday, then it's over.
Missed my
Then you have the.
Just kidding.
It's never too late. If you're
Never too
consciously
late.
aware of it, you can still choose to start fresh and start new. I think anywhere, any place. Speaking of spring, We went to the Spring Place last night.
Oh, yeah.
Super cool.
Yes, so cool. We're hashtag community powered here at the Ever Media Studio, so it was great to be part of their community. Thank you, Rob, for the invitation. Just a super cool group of people and so many familiar faces
Oh my
that
gosh.
we saw.
What?
Right?
Luis.
Yeah.
We saw Jordan. So
Jordan. Yeah, absolutely. Chris Pan was there with My Intent. I mean, just so many cool, inspired, and very motivated people, right?
Yeah, I love that
the
community.
energy is contagious there.
Love
But it's
the
about the app, right? And the app, they're connecting influencers with different brands, right?
Black
That
Lines,
yeah.
So my buddy Cal Amir, who I went to business school with, was the one who originally gave me the invite. So they host like once a month a sort of happy hour, like aperitivos event. So this was their Wednesday, and they started a company. It's called Black Lines. They connect sort of social media influencers that have 1 million followers or more to like big brands.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's everything. It's all the collaboration partnerships for sure.
Absolutely.
If you're gonna scale, you gotta partner for sure.
Did you get some rest last night?
I did. I mean, I was a little bit. Jess and I were talking about because sometimes when the full moon comes, sometimes I got it like a few days before by the time the full moon comes, I'm like handled my stuff because I know it's like it starts coming up and I'm like, oh, here it comes. Let's do this thing. So I slept like a baby last night. But yeah, you always wonder if you haven't handled it before the full moon, then it's not good.
Yeah, I didn't handle it before the full moon, so I was up all night. This moon thing, for sure, is a real deal.
It's a deal.
It's like, you feel positive, you feel strong, and then at 3 a.m. you're like, I feel totally crazy. I'm going to pace in my kitchen. Should I Swiffer? What do I do with myself? My life is falling apart. 6:30 in this morning, I was fine again. But that is a weird, powerful moon. It was the super worm moon.
Yeah.
I liked the super wolf moon a lot better, but it was the worm moon, apparently because it's the time in which all the earthworms rise because it's spring.
Interesting. I don't have a problem with the new moon as much, and maybe because I'm not sensitive enough to it. My problems have usually been rowdy neighbors.
Oh, really?
But, I live in a great place now, but in the past it's always been
full
the rowdy
out of control.
Should have blamed it on the moon.
So I do think spring equinox is interesting, and it is a time to cleanse, and that's why I think that it's like a natural thing when things come up and there's a lot of chaos. The number one thing I've been hearing in all my group coaching calls, everything, people have been seriously overwhelmed with technology, overwhelmed with all of it, and so I think that it's just a natural way of going, what are you going to prioritize, what are you going to say no to, and what are you going to clean out of your life?
Yeah, it's good to be clear, purpose-driven, right?
Very, gotta simplify it.
Well, they don't call it spring cleaning for no reason, right? But it's really interesting because religions worldwide have honored and celebrated spring for a long time, and the spring equinox is actually equal parts light and dark, right? Some consider it life and death. It's, the rising from which, right, in Christianity, they talk about Jesus and you rising from the dead, and in other religions, but it's just what rises in your life, right? And time for new beginnings, a time to really get rid of what isn't serving you anymore, whether it's the junk in your closet or the relationships that are holding you back. So it's just a really cool time to reevaluate your life and to celebrate, right?
I love that, Jazz. Yeah, that's great.
So I'm actually going to do that this weekend. I'm actually with Nick and the girls up at a great home, same home up in the hills this weekend, and I was like, I just want to ground down with the girls and get focused again. Even though it's, I think the best time to get even more focused when you're already focused, because then you're like, okay, I've already cleared it out. I dealt with delegating bookkeeping and taxes and all this stuff that I just absolutely cringe over. I swear, I think it's like kryptonite to me. Like if I have to deal with bills or any kind, I feel like I'm going to be sick right now.
Yeah.
Like I literally get sick and I'm like, what is this? Because I do not like it.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. Hand it off, delegate it, whatever. And then when that's off my plate, then I can really start getting into scaling and getting into the organization.
Isn't it phenomenal when you find people who love what you hate?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, well, there's all kinds of, the amazing thing, you guys, there's this thing called technology in the World Wide Web, and they've created these platforms, companies have spent millions and millions and millions of dollars creating platforms that you just literally give them your codes to everything and it's just done. It's amazing.
You want to give me your codes?
Yeah,
exactly.
Credit card codes? What are these codes? I want these codes.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I can use those codes. Send me those codes. I'll work on some things for you, Erin. I promise.
Rob, is there a way that you've honored spring throughout your life that serves you?
To be honest with you, I've always desired to live in places where I couldn't tell what season it was. Right? So I lived in Miami for 10 years, lived in LA.
Yeah.
In LA, you can tell there's more of sort of delineation between the seasons, but I haven't really done anything special for spring.
How about your clothes? You must change your clothes a little bit.
I mean, I guess a little
really?
bit. The great thing about LA and Miami is that you can kind of wear what you want whenever you want. So, I haven't, in Miami, I do remember people would suddenly put the fur coats away because it suddenly, you know, was above 60. It's like, hello.
Fur coats in
Yeah,
Miami.
I mean, I remember the first New Year's I spent in Miami. I went to like this super cool party. It was like this puffy party and everything like that. And I walked in, and I remember it was like seriously 65 degrees, but everybody had their fur coats out. And I was like, wow, I guess this is cold for Miami. Yeah, so I guess wardrobe, but not really. Do you do anything?
Yes, and my mom still to this day, I'm over 30 years old, sends me an Easter basket. It's my spring box now, my gift box. And since I can remember, one, there's a new purse inside, because rather than like an actual basket, I'd rather carry a purse, even when I was like 16.
Now that's my kind of Easter basket.
Yeah, sure, nobody is surprised. And then in this basket, and still to this day, or purse rather, are those little mini Cadbury chocolate eggs.
Yeah, they're so good.
Obsessed, you guys. It's the only time of the year that they're sold in the United States. I stock up those purple.
The mini eggs?
The mini eggs in that purple bag. Oh my God, they get me every time.
Wow.
My mom does that too. We have very similar moms, don't we? Yeah, she always would send like Peeps. Do you remember those Peeps? Those
Oh,
marshmallow
yeah.
Oh
Peeps?
yeah, absolutely. I'd like to, you know, have fresh flowers in the house, or wear a corsage and have a spring hat.
Corsage.
I'm absolutely ridiculous. I am not practical at all. I am readily going to admit that. So.
Well, I don't think I've ever got an Easter basket from my mom in my life, because I love you, Mom. She's just not a domestic woman at all. And so I always laugh about this. I'm like, your mom got you an Easter basket?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's what moms do. Oh,
Yeah.
like maybe I should do that for my son.
But you do things like that all the time, Erin. You do the video. We just did a video for your son's girlfriend.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean,
but we'll go, like, I'll go take him out to dinner. That's kind of
Yeah.
more like I'm just not a gift person, but I always want to be that person. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they're so nice. And they send these little gifts.
Yeah.
And like, it's like
I
not
like
in my
who you
genes.
are. No.
It's not in my genes.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
That's
I
okay.
think your love language is quality time,
Yeah, it is totally.
right? It's not
completely.
presents. Yeah. Although.
My love language is coffee and Cadbury eggs.
But we were talking about how funny it's like, why do we lie to kids about the eggs? First of all, rabbits don't lay eggs. Just FYI. Just
a good point.
Just a little something
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
You know, what do we do? Why do we come up with
That's
these
a
stuff?
whole other conversation. We're not even talking about Easter.
I guess in
now.
some ways you're just indoctrinating and getting them used to what they're going to experience in the world later. in
This
life.
is it's all about lies. Start
That's right.
enjoying it now.
Have you ever seen the movie Invention of Lying? With Matt
Yes.
Damon? It's pretty funny,
Amazing, right?
Yeah, it is kind of interesting the ways in which people use lies to lubricate the social wheels.
Well,
You know, I don't know.
absolutely. Actually, the tradition of the egg stems way back to an ancient Greek tradition in which the egg would stand up on the ground during the spring equinox. So that's where the eggs
Love that.
come from.
Got it. I get it. I get like that it's all about new life and the whole thing and all that. But the rabbits don't lay the eggs,
No.
just FYI.
And if you've got eggs and you're upset about that, throw them at her, not us.
It's so funny. Well, anyway, there's a lot of energy going on. There's a lot of newness, and it's time to just get focused on what we want to do, which is our incredible guest. So let's take a break. When we come back, we will hear all about how they are laying eggs. Just kidding.
Or not.
No.
We'll be back with more on Good Morning La La Land.
Live from Los Angeles. Welcome to Good Morning La La Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jess Moyer. This is Good Morning La La Land.
Hello and welcome to Hashtag.
Hi everyone, I'm Erin Ziering, and this is the Housewives of Hollywood.
I'm Joanna Garzilli. You're watching Life Stories.
Welcome to Getting Real with Pamela, a positive and purposeful show about passionate people and their journeys.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Eyes Up Here. I'm your host, Lindsay Palos.
Welcome back to another episode of Mind, Body, Spirit. I'm Dr. Kate.
Hello, and thank you so much for saying yes to tuning into the Yes Life show. I am Yes Jess.
My people, this is Table for One, and I'm Leah Sergakis, and it is time for another episode of Sassy and Single, because that's what I am. I'm your host, Natalie Sadie.
Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Erica Della Cruz, the hashtag Passionista. Welcome to Passion to Paycheck.
Welcome to another episode of Purpose. I'm your host, Brittany Zonker.
Welcome back to On That Note. I'm your host, Elizabeth Lake. She shares all of her tricks in her new book, Your Healthiest Healthy, The Beautiful and Talented,
Samantha Harris. Hey everyone, I'm Lindsay Hoffman, and welcome to the Joseph Bliss Show.
I'm Harry Howard. I am him.
Welcome to the Alyssa Goodman Show. And every week I have the honor of interviewing a game changer in the wellness arena.
Hi, welcome to Defining Moments. I'm Suzanne Kloss.
Hi guys, my name is Serena Poon, and welcome to my show, Serena Live. Hello, I'm Lauren Francesca.
I'm Brad Grunberg.
And you're watching
How to Start.
What is Pussy Poppin', you beautiful humans? My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another episode of Sippin' the Tea.
It's going to be a good morning, La La Land.
This is my first TV experience. I'm so happy I did it with you.
Thank you guys so much for watching. You can always find these videos and binge them on EverTalk TV. They're also now on Apple TV. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. It is a sweet, beautiful day. Sahar Maserati is in the house. Look at this gorgeous cake she's made us. And I just want to say that your name, Sahar, she was just telling us, means morning dawn, and then Sahar means happiness.
No,
Maserati. I mean, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but it means happiness,
Happiness,
right?
yeah.
It doesn't mean, yeah.
Maserati in Farsi means happy.
Yes, so gorgeous. Oh, I can't
cool.
believe it.
Thank you.
Right.
So
Speaking of
cute.
gorgeous,
Thank
this
you.
cake is absolutely incredible.
You made this.
I did with my 10 fingers and 2 hands.
Let's talk about this because these are really couture, handcrafted, hand-painted pieces made to order. I mean, she is the sugar alchemist, and they call her that for a reason. So tell us about this piece.
So basically the flowers, as you mentioned, they're all handmade by hand, one petal, each petal at a time. And
Wait,
then,
you made this
yes,
also?
these are,
I'm impressed.
the petals are handmade, and then after they dried, and by the way, the clay that I create with the sugar is also handmade from scratch. And so when I create the petals, I let them dry, and then I petal dust them and color them accordingly, and then I wire them together. The only thing that is not edible on this cake is the wire that's been used to put the flowers together.
So this is all about celebrating the new year.
So I decorated and designed it using the blossoms that I basically wanted it to have an inspiration from the Persian Nowruz, which we call Nowruz, the Persian New Year, which is the first day of spring. So I took inspiration from that, and I thought the blossoms are the essence of spring to me. So that's where I took the inspiration from. And I'm in love with anything that is just pretty and feminine, basically. So I hand painted. So the painting that you see on the cake is all hand painted and also edible paint.
Well, we can't eat it. There's just no way. I mean, how do you cut into that thing? There's no way.
I'll show you how to use it.
Later in the show. Well, thank you for sharing your incredible art with us. I think your journey is so interesting. If you wouldn't mind sharing a bit about your personal story to how you became the sugar alchemist.
So I have a long history of what I studied, what I was doing for a living, and what I do for a living right now. I studied actually medicine and chemistry back in the college days. And when I moved to US in '95, I actually ventured into a completely different career. I was in corporate and I was in management, completely different world. It was a residential lease-up management. So it was different. It was just crazy world. And then last year when we decided to move to Southern California with my partner, I took a leap of faith and I said I want to try and pursue something that I've done as a hobby and just as a therapy for the mind and the soul into something, just taking my art to a next level. And that's when I started, I actually established Sugar Alchemy, which is my company, an LLC, basically.
Congratulations for taking that leap of faith.
It wasn't easy.
I'm sure it wasn't easy, and that's why we call it Good Morning La La Land, because La La Land represents dreamers and believers and doers and people with a vision who want to bring their passion to life. And it is one of the hardest things to do because the road is not easy.
I've said that every morning to myself. So yes, absolutely.
So I'm so interested in this word alchemy, right? So like one of my favorite books is always The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Yes,
right?
that is one of my favorite books too, funny enough.
What is it about alchemy and being an alchemist that inspires you the most and that resonates most deeply with you?
For me, from early childhood, I was always fascinated with products and ingredients and working with my hands. I never realized why I'm so obsessed with creating things, whether they were pretty or not, or clay or not, but I always was fascinated with coming up with the recipes and ingredients, and I could like taste them in my mouth before I would create them. Like I had this thing that these flavors or ingredients can go together. So if you give me a set of ingredients, I can figure out in my mind kind of what I can do with them. And so when I was studying actually organic chemistry, it helped me a lot with figuring out what ingredients they can go together. And so in baking and in baking art, basically, you have to know that. You have to know. So you can't be as experimental as you like to be, because 1 gram of a mistake can mess up your whole day, and you hate yourself for that. But it allows you to think outside of the box and come up with ingredients or recipes that you develop. This particular cake, I literally developed the buttercream, and I'm calling it the Persian buttercream because I took inspiration from the Swiss meringue, and I changed the recipe slightly different to create something very unique. And the flavors that I use, and this is very different. It's definitely not the American taste flavors, but I incorporated saffron, cardamom, rose water, and pistachio, which are the essence of the Persian.
But you know, cakes are fascinating because cakes, I mean, first of all, it's always a celebration when you have a cake. So what an amazing career to be in, where you are showcasing something that is, you know, whether it be a wedding or whatever it is, it's a, like cake, who doesn't like cake?
Nobody.
How do you be sad without cake around?
That's right.
No, it's very rewarding, and when you see the happy face of the people, when I see the smile, that's the best thing. That's the best compliment, when they are wowed and when they are like, oh my God, we didn't, oh my God, I can eat this, oh my God, that, oh my God. Definitely just touches your heart. It's very satisfying.
So you've even been recognized by the Knot,
yes,
right?
Yes, I was so blessed when I was, I basically became the Knot, the wedding of the 2019. So that's,
That's a huge honor.
Yes, it
Now,
is.
what are some of the favorite pieces that you like to create? We know that you do these beautiful flowers, but I've also seen you do almost like gemstones as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
So basically, my motivation behind any piece that I do is I do like to collaborate with artists. And so if, for example, the jewelry artist that I was collaborating, the jewels that you mentioned was in a collaboration with a jewelry designer who had this vision that wanted to collaborate, bringing my edible art with her pieces of jewelry. So what I did for Emma, I imitated her jewelry into the edible, so you could literally take and eat it. So what I did, I played with different ingredients to create those gems, basically, and that's what it is. And so if let's say I imitated, not imitated, but I actually drew inspiration from a couple of artists in New York that they were, you know, they do with clay art. So I create a cake out of their art, looking like that.
Incredible. I met Sahar actually on a photo shoot I did for a friend of ours, Emma, creator of Desert Daisy Jewelry.
We love Emma.
And she had been so inspired. I mean, her pieces are so incredible. Erin wears that huge quartz around her neck sometimes. And, you know, the shoot was so cool because you really did make like this edible art. I was like, is that jewelry? Wait, no, that's sugar. Like, you couldn't tell the difference. It was so cool.
One of my greatest satisfaction in this line of business is basically manipulation of sugar. You'll be amazed and surprised how many things sugar can do. You can make crystals out of it. You can make, again, jewelries out of it. You can draw. You can paint. You can make so many different things, and it's the manipulation of the sugar that allows you to work in different formats and to sculpt it, or to, you know, create flowers, basically. My biggest passion, I think I would say, is the sugar flowers, because they're so satisfying and you can do so many things. You can play with the colors. But for me, it's creating that unique one of a kind. Every single piece that I do is one of a kind. I never replica, and I have clients that come to me and say, hey, we saw this cake, can you do this? My answer is I can make something similar to it, but I can't copy it. I can't replica what I already, and I honestly can. If you tell me, go redo this, I probably can't. Because
that's okay.
Yeah, so.
I love your work. And I have to say that I agree that sugar is sort of like a miracle drug. It like was a religious experience for me. Literally, it got us through church. My mom would feed us sugar, like all of that, just to get us through church. And I do wonder, though, do you ever find it hard to give away any of these incredible pieces of artwork?
Sometimes, but because I'm already commissioned to do it, I'm not attached to them, and I do want to see people enjoy them. One funny thing I have to say, I grew up not eating sugar at all. My mom was very, very of a health freak and very anti-sugar. So growing up, we were not allowed to eat sugar. We were not allowed to eat dessert unless it was for a special occasion. So I think to my heart, it's also very sacred to create something that is so not only beautiful, but also unique for your day. My mom literally made us our, cakes for our birthdays, or for a special occasion. So for me, taking that tradition, something that was homemade and just something for a special occasion, and bring it to someone else's home or a party, to me, that's like a blessing that I'm continuing doing that.
For sure, love that.
That's incredible. I love it.
If you could make a cake for anyone in the world for any occasion, what would it be?
That's a tough question. That's a very tough question.
I mean, this cake is fit for a queen.
Well, Marie Antoinette is dead. She was addicted to cake.
She said.
That's a very good question. I would say I probably would love to do for Oprah. She's an amazing human being. So
We all love Oprah.
If it's a celebrity that I have to look up to, I think it's Oprah.
Nice.
Oh, well, tell everyone where they can find and follow you and commission one of your cakes.
Thank you so much.
At Sugar Alchemy, right?
Actually, yes, at Sugar Alchemy, which is the handle, and alchemy spelled in Danish, ALKYMI.
Wonderful.
Sorry.
Thank you so
So
much,
beautiful.
Sahar.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on Good Morning La La Land.
I'm thankful for how well it was received.
That's where your supernatural powers come on. That's where the magic happens. That's where you live heaven on earth.
I was left to research everything on my own because I'm like, nothing else outside of me is helping me right now. I have to figure this out.
When we want folks to be good teammates or to be leaders, you confront behavior, you don't confront personalities.
These talk shows are hosted by your favorite television personalities, celebrity entrepreneurs, and social media superstars. New binge-worthy content is added daily with exclusive access to featured products, services, and experiences available to you in the Ever Shop.
We have a universal sign to say it's okay to take a nap.
Yeah.
Like the universe is saying, please chill out a little bit, you know? So we need to listen to that.
Jessalyn, you are absolutely beautiful, and you don't have to try at all. It's like I walked in this morning, you're the first person I met, I went, she is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And
Tell me more.
As you said, pick up the phone, like turn that text, before you turn it into a date, let's turn it into a phone call.
These talk shows are hosted by your favorite television personalities, celebrity entrepreneurs, and social media superstars. New binge-worthy content is added daily with exclusive access to featured products, services, and experiences available to you in the Ever Shop. EverTalk is hashtag community powered, and we are excited to offer you a free 30-day subscription to explore the talk shows that will bring you timeless entertainment that will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere on EverTalk TV, your home for talk. Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. I'm so excited to welcome Reena Patel to the show. She's a parenting expert and a guidance counselor, and she's giving some very positive tips on parenting because especially in this age of social media, we need them.
Oh, yes.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah,
so glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming the expert. We know you have 3 kids of your own.
I do. I've been practicing for about 20 years, so prior to even having kids. I have a background in psychology and education. I'm an educational psychologist. I went to grad school at Loyola Marymount, so not too far from here. And then later on, really working with children and families, I realized I wanted to really specialize in behavior and human behavior and why we do what we do. And that really had to do with my influence of just wanting to be a better parent and implement something called positive parenting. And so later on, went back and got my postgraduate degree in that. And I wanted to teach everyone, not just my own clients, about effective ways to be a better parent.
It's so interesting. I remember when I was pregnant, before I had my son, I was really watching other parents. I'd go into the grocery store or whatever, and I'd watch people, and I'd watch these moms, they'd go, no, 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 you can't have that. The kids would be grabbing for stuff, and they go, no, 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 no. And then the kid would keep trying to get it, and the mom would go, okay, you can have it. And I thought, oh, that's bad, because then you're just like training them to like, you know, act out, and then they get what they want. So what are the behaviors? How do we do this?
Well, you know, it's an interesting thing because that right there is just a power struggle, right? And it's the hardest thing to address when you're out in public. And so I always say find those teachable moments in your house first when you practice. So create situations where they're asking for something. And the whole concept of positive parenting is really, in a nurturing way, teaching the better behaviors to implement or to use. And so
I do that in dating, but not.
Train those men.
Just kidding.
So I always, you know, I have this great acronym. It's called LOVE, and we're in this fast-paced society, and we are busy parents. And one of the first things is in the word love is L, and laugh. Laugh as parents at your mistakes. Make mistakes so kids know that they don't have to be perfect. And I intentionally leave the house with 2 different shoes on, or when you're helping them with homework, make some calculation errors. Why? Because with social media, with all the media out there, everybody thinks that everybody needs to be perfect, and they don't. And so that's the first L. And then O is, going back to your question, is offer choices. Everyone wants to be in control, right? We don't like to be micromanaged, and so neither do our kids. And so giving at least no more than 3 choices puts them in the driver's seat, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Great.
So example would be, they want the M&Ms, right? And you don't want to give them the M&Ms, so you would say, do you want a banana or do you want an orange?
Right, or
yeah,
exactly. Or even, you know, you want it to be a little bit even more. You want the fruit snacks? Or do you want the fruit roll-up? You know what I'm saying? So it's not exactly that sugary, but you're kind of, and then over time they're like, okay, I can work with this. And it's not so much the end product, it's really, again, them being able to be in control. It'll get you out the door so much faster.
So what's the V in this equation?
V, it's values. As a family, I have this in my own family. We created a family mission statement, and it's hanging in our house.
I love that.
And any decision, I've got a 15-year-old all the way down to a 5-year-old, and what I say is anything we come across, any conflicts, any decisions, does it relate back to our own family values? And that really helps them, teach them problem-solving skills. And then the E is effort, and that goes back to me being the behaviorist, is positive reinforcement. Always praise the effort, the process versus the outcome, and be descriptive. So don't just say good job, you know. I always say hear, see. I hear that you had a great day working on your art project at school. I see that you are sharing with your brother, and so it's really important to be very specific on the behaviors, because the whole concept of reinforcement is you want to increase it over time, so we want to see it again. So the likelihood that they'll do the same thing next time around.
It's a profound point there. So if I understand you correctly, you can't, you know, I think the challenge that we often have, not just with kids but in life, is that you try to extinguish like this undesirable behavior by giving it more attention.
Right.
Right. And you're saying that you actually want to give the desirable behavior more and more attention, positive attention.
Right. Exactly. Catch them making good choices. You know, it's interesting, when kids grow up, immediately they say, am I a good boy? Am I a good girl? And I always tell them, I tell my own kids, and a great advice that I would recommend is you're always a good boy. You're always a good girl. It's just the choices that we make sometimes are not the best, and so let's try again.
It was interesting because I lived in that motto as I decided, okay, I'm going to pick my battles with my son, and I'm going to give him positive affirmations, and it worked so well until the first time I got upset with him, because I never yelled at my son ever. I never raised my voice or anything, and I did when he was about like 4 or 5, and I said, you're a bad boy, you need to go to your room, and it was traumatic for him because he had never heard me raise my voice like that. And I was like, oh, you got to like have some kind of easing into this whole thing. So when do you think you should discipline?
Discipline, everything our children do, we all have consequences. It's the type of consequences that we implement. So it's not that we shouldn't punish our kids. Time out, take a break, maybe take that, you know, Fortnite game away.
So you never need to raise your voice, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, I recommend not, but doesn't mean that you can't be firm, you know? I mean, what happens when 2 people are raising their voice at each other? You get nowhere, right? So being firm and consistent, really when you're disciplining, not to show too much affect as well, trying to keep your own emotions in check. I know it's hard.
Good luck with that.
I know it's hard. And then also, when you do implement some type of discipline or a consequence, make sure you have that teachable moment, you know? Give them an opportunity to work for it again or try again, and then praise them for that. And you're gonna see that we don't have to, I mean, just the fact of a simple praise is enough with our kids in terms of, you know.
I think it's so important to mention anxiety and how to deal with that within our children, because so many people now, especially at a young age, are dealing with the perfection that, you know, they see on social media, and they're having overwhelming amounts of anxiety. So how do parents deal with that?
I mean, anxiety is a huge epidemic with our kids, and it's, I always say it's a man-made challenge, and I don't want to say it's just a disorder, and that's for one reason why I've written Winnie and Her Worries, because and targeting it for kids between the age of 3 and 10, because with adolescents, when I'm working with adolescents and they're stressed out about making sure they get A's, making sure they get in the best colleges. Will my friends like me? Will I be accepted? I didn't get many likes on Instagram, you know? It's a world that is unrealistic. And teaching our kids, the best gift we can give our kids, even at a young age, is coping skills. Teaching them how to handle situations, and that, again, being perfect is not what we're trying to achieve. And so my book, Winning Your Worries, actually goes through a little story. This one right here. Goes through a little story about this fabulous girl, Winnie, who worries about everything. Being late to the bus, you know, will she be able to have a friend to sit with? And my favorite thing about helping kids cope with anxiety is this great page right here. It really shows them what the alert signs are. What are those red flags? And it makes it very concrete for them.
It's this little headache, sweaty palms, little butterflies in the tummy.
Knee shaking.
Oh, so cute.
That was me. No, Winnie was me. Right. All my entire childhood.
It's so important for kids to be able to recognize the factors, so when they start experiencing them, they know how to manage it.
So and so this book, my whole goal and my wish is to have it in every classroom out there, but teaches them actual coping skills. And so what I found working with teens and adolescents and young adults is that by the time they're that age, they're in like, it's not going to work. I've tried everything. You don't know. And so I pretty much come up, as a psychologist, we implement something called cognitive behavioral therapy, but I wanted to get it to the masses. And I said, why isn't everyone doing this? And so I provide tools and techniques that actually are realistic and fast and work. That we can start at a young age, so when we are in those teenage years and stress is a huge factor, they know how to handle it because they've been trained.
So important, right?
It's everything. I work with executives every day. They're in their sometimes 50s and 60s, and they're still working on self-soothing skills.
Right.
They haven't ever been taught them. They would have no way of learning them. So love this book. And so could you give us one example of either a cognitive behavioral therapy approach or tool, or a self-soothing skill that folks could just digest?
So my favorite is, and this we can use it as adults, it's called the worry box. And a worry box is, you just have to have a little container. It doesn't have to be anything special. You get it from a craft store. And write down that thought, that worry, that anxiety-provoking situation. Write it down, fold a piece of paper up, and put it away. Tell yourself you're going to get back to it. Because what happens when we're in our everyday life, right? It's on our mind. We can't get through. I mean, we see it on our face, or we get those somatic body symptoms. And so a worry box is a great tool that are very effective. And then tell yourself at the end of the day, or I'm going to open it up and I'm going to work through it and I'm going to work on those solutions. And with kids, it's important to get get parents involved. And so let them help you come up with some useful tools. And so I love the worry box, and then I also love the mantra bracelet, because positive affirmation, and you probably know this already, but it's so important to say, have those positive thoughts.
I want to circle back to the family mission statement quickly, because I think that is so important. If a family wanted to create one for themselves, what are 3 keys that should be involved in this statement?
Well, number 1, make sure you sit with your entire family, even the youngest one. You know, ownership and buy-in to family values is important. So everybody should sit around the table and write out or even draw out what it is that they believe in, legacy. What is it that you want to leave, you know, your mark in this world? And so for us, it was kindness and compassion and giving back to the community. So both my husband and I work in the healthcare field, and our children really are starting to pick that up. And so I would start, number 1, with what is everyone's legacy? What is it that everybody wants to kind of leave in this world? And let that kind of guide you, and start, you know, head it with family mission statement. Actually, I had an artist put ours in writing around, you know, in the backdrop, and I have it on my social media, and we have it on our wall right when you walk in, because it's just that great reminder. And put things that are realistic, you know, very clear, not very general, like you know, save the world, or I want to be. You know, be happy, but actually be very specific on how you're going to do it.
Love that. So important and very important. teach that with all relationship, and really this is your team, this is your mastermind, this is your group for coming together for sure. So thank you so much for all your work. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Why do we not learn this as little kids? Like, it's just crazy. These tools are universal. So thank you so much.
And they're on Amazon, both books. So
great.
Where can people find and follow you if they want to work with you?
Rena B. Patel on social media. I have a website, renabpatel.com as well. And both my books, My Friend Max and Winning Your Worries, are on Amazon.
Thank you so much, Rena. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Goodman Show, and every week I have the honor of interviewing a game changer in the wellness arena.
Hi, welcome to Defining Moments. I'm Suzanne Kloss.
Hi guys, my name is Serena Poon, and welcome to my show, Serena Live.
Hello, I'm Lauren Francesca.
I'm Brad Grunberg.
And you're watching
How to Start.
What is pussy poppin', you beautiful humans? My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another episode of Sippin' the Tea.
It's going to be a good morning, La La Land.
This is my first TV experience. I'm so happy I did it with you.
Thank you guys so much for watching. You can always find these videos and binge them on EverTalk TV. They're also now on Apple TV. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome to Good Morning La La, and we're talking all things Thought Thursday, and mental health is imperative when we're thinking about this day. Katie Morton is in the house, and you do a big YouTube channel on mental health, right?
Yes, I'm a licensed therapist, and I have an educational mental health channel on YouTube.
Amazing.
For Mondays and Thursdays.
Love it. And it's called?
It's just called Katie Morton.
Cool.
Pretty simple.
She's got over 50 million views, and she's really become a go-to expert on this. I think it's so interesting that you're leveraging social media to spread the word about mental health in social media.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about it back in the day, or even a lot of therapists, I only have so many hours each and every week, and it's one-to-one, right? But the idea of social media making it one to millions is really powerful, and why not use that medium for good, you know?
So true.
I really want to touch on self-harm in social media. It's become a very increasing, shocking, popular trend.
I don't know if it's become a popular trend. I think we're hearing about it more because people are able to talk about it, share about it, connect about it, because I know it's been going on for a long time. But yeah, it is definitely an issue.
What that is exactly.
So self-injury isn't always a suicide attempt. I think that's important for everybody to understand. A lot of times it's just a way to express all that we are feeling that we don't have other tools to express. Meaning that, like, if I'm really angry, I could go, oh, I'm so mad at you, I'm so angry. But if I don't feel safe doing that, if that could be dangerous to me or make me feel even more overwhelmed, then I might express that through self-injury. It's a way to, like, let it out.
But not only are people expressing it in that way, they're doing it via social media.
And that can be very, I think, kind of exploitive, and it's a little bit dangerous. I don't encourage my viewers to showcase it, but just let people know that you can replace it with more healthy coping skills, like distraction techniques. I'm going to paint my nails, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to pet a dog, I'm going to call a friend, to like processing coping skills, like what's the impulse, what am I really feeling? Am I talking to my therapist, my friend, my family about it?
We talk about it a lot on the show where it's a gradient, right? We probably all have some kind of what we consider as normal in our culture could be completely mentally ill, a lot of it. And there's spectrum, and then there's somewhere where the experts say, oh, well, this is a mental illness or whatever. Where's that line for you, and what would you consider mental illness?
Yeah, we all have a mental health, just like we have a physical health. You know, we try to drink water, we try to eat well, we try to exercise, and we need to do things like that for our mental health. So we need to sleep well, we need to vent what we feel, we need to know how to express that. But when your mental health is deteriorated to the point where you can't function, Like, I can't participate in conversations with those I love. I can't get up and get to work on time. It's hard for me to keep up my hygiene. All of that, if it's getting in the way of you functioning, then you really should see a professional. It's really important to reach out, because therapists aren't scary, I promise. We're regular people just like you. I see a therapist.
I think that's a great,
totally.
Don't you think that's
Absolutely.
a good definition? Like where your life is not working, it's just like, yeah, okay, cool.
And because everybody's different, right? Everybody has a different level of functioning. So it's not saying like I have to function at the level of, I don't know, like Gary Vaynerchuk. Do you know that guy?
Right. Yeah. Who doesn't know Gary?
He does so much stuff.
He's definitely mentally ill.
I just get exhausted just watching him, and like his level of functioning is like here.
But I think that's another important topic, because we're in this like huge comparison state right now.
Oh yeah.
I know at 3 a.m. when I was freaking out last night, what do? I get on Instagram and look how everybody's life is going so much better, or whatever it is, even though it's not, right? I can't even rationalize that in my head, and I know better, but it doesn't help me from feeling that way.
Well, yeah, and social media that's the main issue I have with social media, because the positives are great. Like, there's connectivity, there's validation, there's all of that, but there's definitely that like comparison factor where you look and you're like, how is she in Bora Bora again? And I can't afford $1,000 shoes, that's just why. But recognizing that's their highlight reel, that's edited, that's perfect. Who wants to put a video or a photo of themselves looking haggard and terrible, fighting with a loved one? I mean, also you're not taking photos of that, but it's like you're not going to put
why is that? If we understand it's face-tuned and filtered, we're still comparing ourselves.
I think it's in our nature. It's kind of just like how we are. We always look out and if the grass is greener, or it's easy to look at someone else's life and think that they have it better, or the worst, like we're judgmental. You know, I think it's something that we have to kind of be aware of, because we can change it. Just like we're talking like the power of the mind, because it can get better, is noticing when you're doing that, and instead being like, when I think that this person's doing better, what am I grateful for in my life? What are 2 things that are going really well for me?
I just love that. So how can a person make the determination for themselves whether or not they have an unhealthy relationship with social media?
I think it comes back to like how you feel when you spend time on it, and how much time are you spending on it? Like, can you take a break and it's fine? Or are you like feel anxious about not keeping up with people's stories? I know that sounds silly, but Insta stories, like you open it and you see like all those little dots, and I'm like, I don't have time for this.
They're each to-do lists.
Exactly, and so just noticing that.
Right, yeah, and so how does someone also determine if they're, in your perspective, I mean, obviously we know if their life isn't working, you need to get help, okay? So now, how does that work? If they're going, okay, we want to get help. We do like trauma and we do coaching, but that's different than mental health, right? So how to take us through that process with you?
The process of how you'd like start seeing someone?
Yeah, like, I mean, obviously some people are extreme and some people are not as extreme. How do you come in and evaluate them? What's the process for the
assessment?
So like, it's really not that scary. First, you just find someone that you kind of connect with, someone that maybe their name sounds nice. The photo on their website, you're like, I like them maybe. And then you go to the session, you call, you make an appointment, make sure it's covered by your insurance, that's the best. You sit down, they'll have basic paperwork for you, what brought you in, have you been into therapy before? Just like anything, when you go to the doctor, they ask you for that basic information. And then it's like a get to know you. But it's the weird thing about therapy that makes it different, that kind of like weirds people out at first, is it's not about the therapist, it's only about you. So I'm gonna ask you like, okay, so what was the issue that prompted you to call? You know, have you been in therapy before? What was that for? And I'm not going to tell you anything about me, because it's not about me. It's your time. It's 1 hour. You get to be completely selfish, and it's totally supported.
Yeah, there's not a lot of disclosure, any disclosure.
No, and honestly, it should be as minimal as possible so that you do get the full effect of therapy and the full benefit.
Interesting.
You know, it's interesting, and I love the way you just described it. I think it's so helpful for people to know that. Would you say that it's important, like you said, for folks to be clear that they're choosing a therapist in whose presence they feel peace and they feel better about themselves overall?
Yes. You have to feel, like I tell people, they call it the click. In the same way, and this is going to sound weird, in the same way you would like want to date somebody or become a friend of someone, you have that feeling just like, I like them, I feel comfortable. And it's not that we're going to date them or be friends, that's not how it works. But you should feel connected, comfortable, and yourself.
Well, millions have felt connected and comfortable with you. You've had a massive success on your YouTube. So tell us about, you know, your subscribers and the content you're creating for them.
It kind of depends. Like, I have Mondays and Thursdays, and they can be different. Right now I'm doing a whole series on burnout, so that's taking up the Monday slot, but usually that's like diagnostic or something interesting I've read about research and I want to talk about it. So that's like my video, kind of. But I walk people through like how you diagnose, what you should ask a clinician about, what kinds of therapists or psychiatrists, who should you see, just kind of a how-to guide. And then Thursdays are more like answering their questions. So it could be a follow-up from a Monday video. It could be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. What does that mean? Anything. There's no wrong questions. There's nothing weird that I don't talk about. There's nothing off limits. It's just hopefully a place to educate and empower people so they know how to get the help that they need when they need it most.
Yeah. Cool. One of the arguments I hear most consistently from folks around social media, particularly the ones that are influencers or aspiring influencers, is that they're like, well, it's the same way that it works with an athlete or an executive, somebody who's trying to become good at anything. You have to put up with a whole lot of pain before you get to a place that you're successful. And so I just assume that that's part of the deal, the anxiety, the stress. And of course, you know, I have a different perspective, but I wonder what your perspective is around that, and what would you say to a person who says that, who says it's just about dealing with the pain of the stress and the anxiety and the comparison until I can get myself to a place where I'm an influencer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with that thought process, because it's almost like the no pain, no gain that we hear about, like working out or anything in our society. It's almost like we have to like hurt for it. And I honestly think that instead of considering life in that light, it's more like, I'm gonna do what feels good for me and it will turn out. Like, I always tell myself, this sounds silly, but even my therapist, she's like, you're sabotaging, you know, and I'm like, why? Why? So I'm not perfect either. I don't have all the answers. But she was like, when has it not turned out for you? When have things been so bad? You know, have you been destitute on the street? And I was like, no. And so she's like, remember, life has your back. And so I always like to tell people, like, if you do things consistently with love, with joy, with something that you want, then it will work out. People will find you. That will come across in what you're doing.
I just love that, and I think it's important to remember that, you know, and sort of as Erin was saying earlier, that this mental health and mental illness thing is a spectrum, and that we all, in some ways, experience this and inflict this self-harm upon ourselves, even with the use of social media. We don't realize we're doing it. It's not that we're cutting ourselves, but we are intentionally embracing this idea of no pain, no gain. Right?
Yes.
And sort of replicating over.
And we can self-harm a lot of ways, whether it's like, I'm hungry and I'm not eating. I really want this and I'm not going to do it. I am too tired and I'm going to work out anyway. Yeah. There's certain things that we do that can be harmful, whether we realize it or not.
I mean, we're firm believers that our thoughts are everything. That, I mean, if you're going to do one to-do list in your day, it's to get your mind right, for sure.
Yes.
So it's so important, and I think it's important also that therapists, I'm glad that you're on YouTube, because my sister's a therapist, cognitive therapist also, and I think you guys cannot just go out there like coaches. So it's so important that you can go on something like YouTube and give your wisdom, because you guys have so much wisdom. And the cognitive therapy, that entire industry is incredible how advanced and involved it's gotten. So thank you so much for everything that you do.
So thanks for having me. Tell everyone where they can find and follow you and subscribe to your videos.
Oh yeah, just Katie Morton. Think like the salt or the steakhouse. That's my last name. And that's across all social media.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thanks for having me.
And so I figured it wouldn't be so pretty, just not gonna lie. So I had to get these two amazing people together to do a show. And so I wanted to give a big shout out to Andy Waldman with Focus TV and Ever Talk TV. And I'm gonna hand it to this this beautiful woman, because she's the one in charge.
Thank you, Dr. Erin. And thank you so much, Carrie, to Amy, and to all of you. Many of you have already been on our show, and if you haven't, well, find me afterwards, because I'm sure we are going to want to tell your story. And I'm so incredibly grateful that I was ready. I was ready and I was received by these two. I was ready and I was received by you, and women and men like you who believe, who have released the fears and the rejections and the judgments and really just embraced your imperfections and celebrated your success and your sister's success and your neighbor's success and that girl on Instagram's success. And you were ready, because it is our time, and it's our time that we rise together. And I'm just so incredibly grateful that you've given us the opportunity to do that with you.
Erin and Jeslyn are two of the most brilliant, beautiful women I've ever met in my entire life. And that is excluding my mom and my sister, because they will cut me. I promise they will. And I've never met anything but beautiful, brilliant women, right? And all of you are a testament to that. So just thank you so much for honoring us. I feel so humbled and so grateful just to be a part of this incredible journey that Dr. Erin and Jeslyn sort of have invited me on. Thank you, Carrie. This is just a fantastic event, and I'm so inspired by everybody's story. Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLaLand here on Thought Thursday. We're talking alchemy, really, and transforming your lives from something that's maybe not all that happy to something that is happy. And so I have a question for each of our phenomenal guests, and that is, what's the one thing you've learned about alchemy, about transforming your lives from something that maybe isn't all that happy to something that's a lot happier?
For me, it was accepting what happens and deal with it.
Acceptance.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, love that.
For me, living in the moment and appreciating what I have versus looking so far ahead.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's just been recognizing my thoughts, which sounds silly, but those things just fly through your mind. And so once I can recognize what they are, know that I have the power to not accept them or accept them, that has really changed my life.
Metacognition.
Well, I accept this cake.
And even the flowers are edible.
Let's do this.
Definitely.
Big shout out to my son's girlfriend, Rachel. Happy birthday to you. So we're eating this for you today. Love you so much.
And can I also do another shout out?
And for the new year also.
And to the new year, and also to my beautiful cousin Zareen, whose birthday is also here today. So cheers to you.
Yeah. Happy New Year to everyone.
Wow, yeah. So what are you going to do to celebrate the spring and the New Year's? Is there anything you're like cleansing, refreshing?
Eating cake.
Eating cake. What about you, Rita?
Just being outside. I love the the time change, so I want more daylight. So just being outside more.
Yeah, same with me. Just trying to get outside, do more
Sun
adventures.
energy.
Exactly. It feels good to be outside. Especially, I mean, we've had some rain, but it's starting to get more sunny again. And
It's going to be
nice.
beautiful spring.
And there's been so much snow in the mountains, like Mammoth, here I come.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
I think people, I know I didn't realize for a long time how true that this seasonal affective disorder thing was.
Oh, yes.
Right? Especially living in the Northeast. You guys ever offer tips for folks that are struggling with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a whole playlist I put together of my videos and other YouTube creators, just so people can understand it, because it is real. And it can also happen in the summer. People don't know there's seasonal affective disorder, but it just depends on how the seasons affect you, so just pay attention.
So helpful. Awesome.
Wow, I'm going to spring cling and let go of whatever's not serving me to make room for more cake. What beautiful things are handcrafted just for us to celebrate. So let's dig in.
Let's
do it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All of us are
It is like seriously cutting into a Picasso.
I know.
So, yeah.
like I'm just-
So this is a rosemary saffron cake?
No, it's actually cardamom.
Rose water.
Cardamom rose essence.
Rose essence.
Oh.
Rose essence
And
cake.
then with pistachio
Oh,
and
wow.
the Persian buttercream.
Persian buttercream.
You even cut a straight
Wow,
line.
look at that.
Wow.
She's done this a few
Cutting
times.
her cake.
Well, it's a work of art. I'm glad she's the one doing it. That is for sure.
I would not.
Is there
Oh, here we go.
Is there a part in the process of making this cake that you most love or enjoy?
I think the decoration part for me is the most rewarding because I see it happening and I just realize.
This is the most nerve-wracking.
Oh my
cake
gosh.
cutting.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
we're all like, oh my gosh,
I
don't
think it's
breathe.
going to be like
Also, it's so
two
tall.
here.
It's like, it's gonna...
You need
Oh, wow.
layers.
Oh, the saffron.
There's
Oh my
1, 2,
gosh,
3, 4,
wow.
5, 6 layers
Two
to this
pieces right
cake.
there.
I put a roller to see how
Wow, that is
obsessed I've been.
Oh,
with
was it
making
exactly the
exact-
same?
Well, I have OCD.
Well, you're in the right place.
We can talk about that later.
yes.
Good hands.
Wow, thank you so much to each of you. Happy New Year to everyone. We are Good Morning LaLaLand, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. All these interviews are also available on a replay. Download the EverTalk TV app on your Apple TV or listen to us as a podcast on iTunes.
Well, we're waking up the world together. Have a beautiful Thought Thursday. Enjoy and eat lots of cake.
Yes! Happy spring. It's going to be a good morning, La La Land.